To help you understand why we chose to only pursue the online strategies at first with the Grout product, I'll give you a case study of a real client that was in commerce, which went the other route. And this client went directly to brick and mortar stores. The product was a decorative cooking salt. It's a very unique sort of thing. That client was a chemist originally, and she came up with this really cool looking salt that if you do something to the salt, it starts to take on color and starts to look really beautiful, so you can put it on top of actual dishes and it will make it look beautiful. So it actually was salt, but it actually served this really amazing effect. And I actually tried to search for it now so I can show you an example, because this is so unusual and rare, but I actually didn't find it online. This was a client from around 5 or 6 years ago. So there's nothing like this on the market essentially. And this was an invention in the food industry. In the food industry, it's actually really hard to make inventions. So this particular client, I don't know if it's an error, but it was a challenge that she first got a patent for a new food. And new patents, especially on foods, they're not easy to get. So she spent like $20,000+, which really should have gone to marketing and growth, maybe website, online, stuff like that. But that's where a lot of money was spent before the launch even. But that wasn't the issue. What I want to bring to your attention is she got into Whole Foods, in a few regional stores of Whole Foods, which was a fantastic, like the number one place she wanted to get into for big retail stores. She got into. It's a major chain. If you don't live in the United States, Whole Foods is a major chain of premium priced products for food. So it's like good food, mostly organic, blah, 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 stuff like that. She got in there. Great. But there was a lot of challenges. First of all, to produce the product itself, her cost was minimal, which was good. It was like under $1. That's perfect. But to place a product in Whole Foods or any major supermarket, it has to have special jars that are beautiful, special labels, because the labels are typically 24 hours a day under bright store lights. And the bright store lights, over time, they'll ruin simple paper. So the labeling has to be produced in a special way. And so the packaging was worth over $2. Even though the actual food itself cost under $1, the packaging, and this is salt, by the way, it's cheap product, but the packaging was like $2+, which killed almost all the profit. And that was a requirement that you couldn't get around that. And another requirement Whole Foods put on this client is that she had to do her own marketing and promotions and giveaways. Like, for example, if you ever visit a supermarket and they give away little samples of foods, that's not the supermarket giving you a gift. That's the supermarket requiring the manufacturer of that food to give away free stuff. Maybe that food is not performing well, or maybe that food there's some other issue, or maybe they just bully that producer of the food and say, hey, we're going to take you out of our offerings if you don't give away free stuff. And of course, it's such a major sales source that the producer of the food has to go with it, but it's a major loss to the producer of that food. So that's a loss that Whole Foods kind of imposed on that particular client, and they imposed this on many new sellers. So that was a loss by itself. And there was other problems. The major issue that was really difficult to get around is Whole Foods made an offer per sold item that was very low. My client was only going to make like 20 or 25 cents per sale. You can't really make a lot of money like that. And that's not counting the free giveaways and all the other hoops my client had to jump through, contacting her lawyer, so many things. That's not even counting that. That's just counting how much it takes to make the food and how much it takes to package the food. And even so, the profit was tiny. And if you count everything else that Whole Foods asked for, it was actually a loss. Now, you'll ask, what about other food chains? Well, she also got into Trader Joe's, but Trader Joe's offered an even lower rate than Whole Foods offered, and that rate was going to be 100% at a loss. So it wasn't even possible unless she miraculously got cheaper packaging, cheaper labels on her products, cheaper manufacturing of the foods. So it was just an impossible deal that Trader Joe's offered her, because all the problems arose because she had no negotiating power. Consumers wouldn't know that salt is there or that salt is missing. Nobody's asking for it. And that's why we didn't want to be in such a bad negotiating position with the brick and mortar stores. Not to mention the whole procedure takes a long time. They impose a ton of other requirements. You have to buy up a lot of inventory up front at times. So there's a lot of problems, and we didn't want those problems. And precisely because of all these issues that arise with big brick and mortar stores that they impose on small retailers, we did not choose at first to go after the big brick and mortar stores.